I'm Van.
I'm sorry.
And this is Enslaved.
Roots of the Mountain.
Of the Mountain from the True Cult.
Yep.
I haven't heard from True Cult in quite some time.
Progressive black metal is what this is called.
Okay. For timely topical political commentary, you can hit us up at Middle America with Vin Hansori. If you're wondering what an alliance is, dear listener, there's actually a pretty cool story around that. So you will notice that another reaction channel...
It involves Vin and I fighting.
Correct. It's true. You'll notice that if you listen to other reaction channels, and please do like, share, comment, subscribe, because they're awesome. They'll cut it up every minute or so, and the reason they do that is very simple. When you are doing YouTube, those little terrible commercials at the beginning, the horrible Biden one or the horrible Trump one, Google gets a cut, and then you get a cut. Well, if you listen with song front to back, straight in its entirety, 9.9 times out of 10, you're going to get a message like this from YouTube saying, hey, we've got our money, but the record label's taking your money. Mm-hmm. So we tried different things. We tried to go, but by the time that we figured out what was going on, we were 5,000 subs deep, and everybody was like, okay, we want you to keep it the same. So then a villager came up with the idea of Patreon and said, hey, why don't we just do Patreon so you can offset those losses so you don't have to interrupt songs. And so hence came Patreon. That metastasized into different groups. True Cult is one of them, one of the alliances. They kind of focus on black metal, the True Cult does, but then there's a power metal group. There's a whole bunch of stuff. So there you are. $1 at the gate gets you in. Now, if you're a filthy capitalist like Sori, and you do the $125 option, then you get to hop, skip, and jump in front of everybody, and you don't have to pull your points at all, and you can, listen to your favorite song. But this is the True Cult, so let's do it. I got my lyrics here. Roots of the Mountain.
All right, here we go.
Approaching life from seas of time.
Whoa.
Cosmic cloud. It's up the
Treble picking, yes. Turn this shit up.
doom. The mother we love as she hates. When there's life, you will die.
Wow. That had a good sound to it.
That guitar work was crazy. I wish in the second half of the song, I'm gonna look up like other versions or whatever on YouTube, because like that tremolo part,
Yeah.
like I heard it, but I wish it was more pronounced. So I'm hoping that, because I love the tremolo. The other guy was doing the chords and then he was doing tremolo.
Yeah.
Like I love that sound. Wait till you see what our band comes up with. We've got a band and we're working on a song, and like we're pretty close to being done with the instrumentation, but
Yep.
man, what a freaking song, bro. I cannot speak enough about the guitar work on this song. I loved it.
Oh. The mixing of the vocal styles. I was very surprised by the second vocal style when it came in.
Yeah, is that the same guy? Do they have one singer?
I don't know.
Let me see. What's the name of this
No,
band?
I don't know.
Enslaved. I think it's the same guy. I'm pretty sure it's the same guy. Let me see. Utgard is the latest record. I'm pretty certain they only have one. Alright, let's see. Yeah, I'm pretty. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a regular 5-piece. 2 guitarists, a bassist, a singer, and a drummer. So there's only one
Yeah, but
guy.
you don't know. Maybe the drummer sings or the,
Very possible.
you know.
Did they make a video out of this? Did they make an official video out of this?
I don't know.
This song sounds like real,
That's
you know,
true. That would
single
be-
material.
That would be really cool to see a video of it.
Sometimes though, I get disappointed in the video because I feel like the song is
Yeah.
deeper than the video. Like,
Yeah.
There
No,
was,
I hear you.
There was one where
Yeah, it doesn't look like
that's
it has.
that's
but
live.
here's
Go
live.
check the live one. I just want to see if he's the one singing. Yeah, you had it. Wait. The keyboardist is singing, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
guitarist singing too.
Yeah. Got that James Hetfield guitar. Okay. So we have figured it out. So the keyboardist is singing the melodic part.
Yeah.
Holy hell, that was such a good song.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people combine, you know, melody with death vocals, or we do it, but like it's just different the way that this one happened. Like these guys are
It
next level.
surprised me when they brought it in. I didn't expect it.
Well, they're a black metal band, and you know, you're always faced with this like, hey, black metal, you know, mayhem,
Yeah.
true colors.
Mayhem.
You're not really the,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And so like, it actually takes some bravery to stay in the genre, but then do something different. Like
Yeah.
the production on this song was crazy. They spared no expense on production. I'm just constantly talking about the instruments now because I just love what they did with the guitar. Like
I like the
love they
album
did the whole
cover
song.
too. The artwork on that.
Yeah, I didn't really understand what was going on.
I don't know. There's a bunch of arms and they're all
Yeah.
connected, and then it looks like they're like this tattoo-looking thing. Almost looks like
And I
twigs and stuff coming out, and the name of it is Roots of the Mountain. So I don't know, to me it just was like the connecting links in all of us that bring us all together. But all these hands are white, so it doesn't communicate what I want it to.
What did you think the song was about?
I wasn't sure, but when it got to the this part, hark men of faith, where were you when your children bled to death?
Yeah.
Listen, men of law, where were you when your mothers were slain? I really don't have a clue what this song is about, but that part just reminded me, hark men of faith, where were you when your children bled to death? Just reminded me of, you know, religious families when they're all like tight in their religion, but their children are suffering because they're not hearing them out. They want them to say certain things, like, you know, before Selah left this week, she was like, so tell me again why you're a Christian. And so she asks this question a lot. And so, you know, I talked about Jesus dying on the cross and me having a relationship with him, and she was like, you know, nobody's gonna buy that, Mom. Like, just because you personally have some experience, like, that's not, people aren't, when she's saying people aren't gonna buy that, she's basically saying, I don't buy that.
Right.
So, you know, I went into, I talked about the resurrection and how, you know, before Jesus died and everything that happened, like when everybody was running in fear, and then secular, you know, historians were saying that after his death, then all of a sudden they miraculously changed, and now they're going to their death singing, they're being crucified, all these different things, which obviously we as Christians say, well, that's because he rose from the dead. It was a big significant thing that, you know, and then I talked to her about prophecies, and I talked to her about Jerusalem and how it was, 70 AD is what I was talking to her about, and she just sat there and listened to the whole thing, like she's just taking that information in. And I've gone over it with her before, and I think you have as well, but so I went over that with her, and she was like, okay, she felt like that was pretty solid. But I think that a lot of parents and, even my experiences growing up, with certain members of my family was, I was suffering with all kinds of stuff. I don't think that this is what the song is about, but this is what it meant to me. Just Hark Men of Faith. So, my family was looked at as like this perfect Christian family, and I had depression and anxiety and all different things that I was suffering with, but I never expressed or shared with other people. My mom saw it, but and then listen, Men of Law, where were you when the mothers were slain? It was just again the same thing, like men of the law, guys that want to follow the law, that this is what the Bible says, and then they leave women in a situation where they're being abused and different stuff like that, and they end up dying in that situation because the woman stuck it out to do the biblical thing or whatever. So that's what it meant to me. I really don't know what it was actually about, but that was what I got out of it.
Yeah, so the song, to me, The Roots of the Mountain, seems to be about like digging in within yourself to come to a understanding of yourself or a knowledge of yourself, because it's saying, so I think Roots of the Mountain is like talking about your own subconscious and diving into that to try to figure yourself out. And the reason I'm saying that is because seek and find what lingers deep inside. So the third sentence in the second stanza.
Yep.
Seek and find what lingers deep inside. Mm-hmm. Seek and find, but don't try to understand. So I think he's just talking about just have a knowledge of self. Mm-hmm. Don't try to understand every little thing that you do, because that's not what the goal is. The goal is just to have a knowledge of self. Mm-hmm. So spread their wings, fly into your mind, spread the wings and find the eagle in the sky. Like he's saying the more you do that, and the more you engage in your own subconscious and trying to figure yourself out, or trying to have a knowledge of yourself, then externally it's going to have ramifications in your life. Mm-hmm. You're going to be able, you're going to be able to fly, yada yada yada, metaphorically.
No, I mean that's true. That's absolutely true.
And then he's saying, find the source, the ancient passion play, which Passion Week was the week that Jesus was going on. So I think that's a play where like it ends in tragedy or whatever. And then it says, find the source, the roots of the mountain. So then when I got here, I actually literalized the children bleeding to death. And like how sometimes like JWs don't believe in like blood transfusions and all that, and people end up dead.
Yeah.
People end up dying because their parents have these strange...
Or like the hyper faith movements where they prayed and they believe that the person's okay.
Right, I'm going to throw away these pills, I don't need them. And then the kid
don't bring him to the hospital.
Killing himself and all that. Yeah. So, like, I just thought it was like how, I don't even know necessarily that he's criticizing religion, because at the top, at this point right here, he's saying, look into yourself, figure yourself out. And then here he's saying men of faith. So he's got an example of like the clergy or Christianity or whatever. And he's saying, have you asked yourself this question? Mm-hmm. Right? Like, where were you when the kids bled to death? Mm-hmm. So I think it's more in the lines, he's challenging them to come to terms and see what they did. Mm-hmm. And he's not even saying you can necessarily understand, because he says it like he's basically saying you're never going to figure it out, so don't try. When you set fire to the fields, the grass grew stronger. There's a men of faith part. Men of law, when you turn from life, the flames endure. Leave order, the fiend of the earth. The self is all you've got. So it's like... when you set fire to the fields, the men of faith did that. I think he's probably just talking about suppression attempts by religion. When you set fire to the fields, book burnings and all that. Mm-hmm. And, late 80s, early 90s, you had
the grass grew stronger.
Yeah. So late 80s, early 90s, you're doing all this book burning and CD burning and yada, yada, yada. But then it just, all that media attention created more interest. It's like Marilyn Manson, creates more interest.
Right.
And now, so you try to set the fields on fire, which is, I'm looking at that metaphorically as art. Mm-hmm. So there's art you didn't agree with, so you set them on fire. But all that did was, it made the grass grow stronger. Because you pissed off the current iteration of metalheads, and then you made other kids who are like, not really into metal or whatever, but have that rebellious streak, they're going to go and... So it's a pretty cool metaphor if that's where he was going when you set fire to the fields.
Yeah.
That's like the religious right trying to squash and stymie every, contrary opinion or thought to their
I think you might be right, because it says when you turned from life, the flames endured. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he's saying, order is the fiend of the earth. The self is all you've got. Enter lives on the waves of the void. Behold the ancient roots. And the battle shall forever go on. With peace comes our certain doom. The mother will love as she hates. Where there is life, you will die.
Oh.
So I think that's a very brilliant way to describe a nihilistic worldview. The mother will love as she hates, like Mother Earth. I'm assuming because she'll love you in the sense that she'll embrace you because you're going to die. See what I'm saying?
Oh my gosh.
I think he's talking about like burial as a sort of embrace from Mother Earth. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
So enter life on the waves of the void.
That's an interesting way of looking at that.
Yeah, it's one of the best descriptions of death, if I'm right, I've ever seen. Enter life on the waves of the void. See, I think that has a kind of a soothing sound to it. I don't know, how many burials you've been to, but burials are always something that they bother me a lot. I hate seeing the person going to the ground and the ground being put on top of that. I don't like any of that. I don't like any element of that at all. I mean, I'm sure lots of people don't like it. I'm sure most people don't like it. But there's just something really troublesome about it. But when you think about the earth embracing the person, that has a more calming sound to it, rather than dumping dirt on top of your loved ones. I agree.
Especially when you think of from dust you came, to dust you will return. That sort of poetic.
Mm-hmm. There's some Christians who believe that it's bad and sinful that get cremated. Because they're like, oh, you're denying the resurrection.
Yes.
It's very silly. But yeah, man,
cremation helps me so much. I would prefer everybody does that. I know, it's weird.
Right.
I don't like, I'm more okay with just ashes being buried or tossed into the ocean rather than they look regular and you just put them into the ground looking regular. I don't like it.
Yeah. It's a crazy idea.
Yeah. But.
Because, yeah.
What?
It's just weird, depending on how they died, it looks like they're sleeping, you know what I mean?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I don't like. And then you just close the... my uncle, he didn't even look like himself, so it didn't feel the same way. It felt like cancer really, really took him. And it felt like, we were burying an alien. I know that sounds really terrible, but it didn't feel like my uncle because it really didn't look like him. But, it wasn't like that with my grandmother, and other people that I've lost. But
I used to work with this woman, and we had such an acerbic, toxic relationship, and she said, you shouldn't be spreading your religion here, blah, blah, blah. she was horrible to me. And then her son killed himself.
Oh, God.
And so she calls me hysterical, and then she's like, I need you gotta come, you have to speak, because you knew him, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, obviously, I'd done anything for her at that point, but. So it's weird, it was weird definitely seeing him in the casket there, because he just looked like he was sleeping, and he was just like one of these bubbly people, you know what I mean? It was so weird just watching him like that. So, but I wouldn't be a fan of the cremation thing though.
You think about stuff too much.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to think about it. If I thought about it, I wouldn't like it either. But I'm not thinking about it, so.
Yeah, I just think that it was a very beautiful way to express a nihilistic worldview. The battle shall forever go on. With peace comes our certain doom. I think he's trying to say maybe making peace with the fact that our doom is certain and there's no meaning to life. Maybe approaching life, aeons of chaos. So it's like...
No. I think he means that... Because it says the battle shall forever go on. With peace comes our certain doom. I think the only way that you find peace is when you're dead. Otherwise, when you're alive, it's just battles that go on forever and ever. So with peace comes our certain doom. You're going to find peace, but the only way to find peace is when you're dying.
Or it could mean, you ever read that poem, Don't Go Gently Into the Night?
No.
Yeah, rage against the dying of the light. So it's basically like, don't make peace with death, like fight against it and live as long as you can, basically, is the point of that poem. So if you say, with peace comes our certain doom, maybe he's saying, if you accept that you're going to die, then you're done. Because the people who live are the people who fight constantly a lot, studies about who survived concentration camps, who didn't, that type of thing, or POWs.
I've never read any of those studies.
The POWs, like the people who thought they were going to make it out and, maintain a positive attitude, many of them made it out. And the people that were like, I'm going to die here, like they made peace with dying, they died.
I have no idea if I would make it out of one of those situations.
So, wow, I mean,
you think I would?
I think you would, for sure. Because you'd want to come back to the babies.
You?
Sure. I've been usurped. Love the guitar. I'm going to be, this and the Protomen song I'm going to be listening to. This is another 10.5 for me. It's such a good song. Love the instrumentation, love the lyrics, love the vocal style.
It was a 9.8 for me.
I loved it from start to finish. Such a good freaking song. Damon, text me who the hell came up with this song suggestion. It's really, really good. Check them out. Enslaved, Roots of the Mountain, Vin out.
Sorry out.
Gone.
Approaching light.